That's exactly what the whole book about deception is about. We call it proactive resilience, right? Reactive is as it sounds. You're reacting to an event that's already taken place. And proactive, you're anticipating before the event happens. And that's why we use the decoy triggers, because that tells you when somebody's getting in the environment. So just recently with the team, because even though 30 plus years in, I still have to go research the latest technology as well, right? That's another thing that keeps you current. So I've always been an OpenBSD fan from many years ago, and I hadn't played with in a while. And I had a challenge where we have these environments that we got to set up, we got to monitor, almost like I had in the military way back when. Well, I always did OpenBSD. I ran the OpenBSD PF. Anybody remembers ISDN? Probably nobody remembers ISDN lines, but we had actually in Europe, you had an expensive price where you had to pay during the day a lot of money to make these remote connections with ISDN. So I used PF to throttle it. So when we got a certain money spent for that day, PF would shut that segment off until we reset it with a cron job to actually start charges the next day. So I was sitting and thinking about this. Can't remember where I was at. I think I was in Cote d'Ivoire and Abidjan, somewhere in that. No, Gabon. I think I was in Libreville and Gabon in Central Africa. Anyway, so I'm sitting there one morning. I'm like, what if I take OpenBSD and I use the PF capability to track the bandwidth and use Splunk Enterprise up to the free tier of the 500 megabytes. So now we got all these, we got 9 interfaces on an OpenBSD box, and it's going out, anything that's got telemetry above a medium alert goes out to Splunk Enterprise. But if it hits that 500 megabyte free tier limit, it automatically shuts down until that cron job resets it at midnight. So yeah, I mean that's the whole thing. That's nothing new. We were doing that, like I said, 30 years ago, but now it's taking the modern day and understanding. We have to go back and do the things we always did. I always laugh, and I got a presentation that I talk about. We're chasing around, we're trying to defend against the advanced persistent threat, right? APT. We can't even get the basic persistent threat defended against. While we chasing the advanced persistent. So that's another thing people don't realize because, yeah, you got to start with the fundamentals. Most of, if you read the data breaches, are fundamental attacks. When it's a sophisticated attack, you're not going to be able to defend it. You got to just identify it when they do it because they're going to have that 0 day. If they have that 0 day vulnerability and your business or mission need requires that service, that vulnerability comes out. You have that attack surface. You have that vulnerability. Someone's going to leverage it, gain access. I used to chair the oil and defense summits for the Middle East. And I'll never forget because I was telling them every day when I was doing briefings and meeting with all the actual different players, Saudi Aramco, Abu Dhabi Oil Company, all the other players, Petroleum Development Oman. I was telling them, look, you're isolated. You're in an isolated environment. Don't connect. Do not put that bridge into the environment. They're like, no, Mr. Kevin, we're going to connect, and you and the vendors have to mitigate the risk. Wireless the same way. It was coming. We knew Peter shipped the cracked wireless with 15 lines of C code and all this other type of stuff. And it didn't matter. It was coming, and we're going to have to figure out a way to mitigate that risk, right? It's kind of where we're at. You're not going to stop somebody from starting it. We just got to mitigate the risk the best we can. But remember, there's no 100% security. It doesn't exist.